Yeah.
So
So
what
more
I
about learning from the culture that how therapy is going. Okay, I think we are live now. Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ina Khan, clinical psychologist, psychotherapist, and speech therapist. And by now I'm a host somehow as well. And I'm basically doing a lot of live stream sessions and somehow recording session to talk to different professionals. And the main reason to talk to different professionals is to how somehow do some mental health advocacy to know other people that what are the problem and what are the problem in different cultures. And the other the other perspective of doing these sessions are to tell other people that how you can see a problem from different perspective, and from and the information is coming from two therapists. So today I invited Genesis, and she is from Orange County, CA in California, and the topic of today's discussion would be positive self image. Yeah, I think that's the all topic. So thank you so much, Genesis, for coming, and thank you for having us this opportunity to talk to you. So I would like you to introduce yourself by from your own words. Actually, I have your introduction, but it's more good that if you tell us about us in your own wording.
Yeah. So my name is Genesis. I am a mental health therapist. I have worked with people who struggle with anxiety, depression, trauma. But right now, one of my biggest interests is self acceptance, body image, body acceptance, and how do we get to a place where we feel happy within ourselves, especially with social media. Social media is everywhere, so that's one of my focuses. That's something that is really exciting to me, that energizes me. And yeah, right now I work in Orange County, California. I am from Los Angeles. So born and raised here. I am Mexican and Nicaragüense. So my family is originally from Central America. And I was first generation American. So with that comes a lot of messages that I received about Latino culture and then also being American. And so that's what also interests me. And I work with a lot of young women too. Yeah.
Okay, so as you're saying that you're from Mexican and you know the different culture, so it is somehow you start working on body image because uh, we are not living yet there, but you know from culture or from you could from the movies or from different literature, we have seen that
Mhm.
a lot of
My
cultures in
cat is joining
America
us.
they have struggled. It's not just about body image, about other aspects as well. So that is the reason you start working on that because, and you also mentioned that social media is playing very important role. But before that,
Mhm.
you want to work on the body image and self acceptance. So maybe you don't belong to that area. You're a migrant over there, and you have to accept that effect that because you will stay and you will feel alienated in that area for a longer period of time. So you know it's not just about
Mhm.
the war within yourself, it's the war around you as well. So is it the reason that you start working on self image?
Yeah, so I had my personal experience with it was I had these different messages where the media on TV, you see a lot of white women, the typical blonde, blue eyes. And so when I was growing up, I was like, I don't look like that. That's not how my body shape is. That's not my characteristics. And so that's what's interested me is having to work through that myself and having to get to a place where I've accepted me. And then as I started working with a lot of female clients, I noticed the same thing that they struggled with their body image. They struggled with seeing themselves and accepting themselves because they were comparing who they were to all of these images that were coming up on Instagram, on TikTok, on just whatever they see when you turn on your TV and you're watching a show. Now it's a little bit more diverse. You have a lot of different faces, but for the most part, even with Latina women or women of color, you still see these people trying to you see them with a small waist and they have the hourglass figure. And that doesn't represent all the females, all the women. We all have different body types. So that's the need that I saw, is to get to a place of acceptance rather than I want to look like this person. I want to look like this celebrity. I need to get plastic surgery because of that. Or we also see like an increase in young women getting plastic surgery or lip fillers. And there's nothing wrong with that if that's something that is affordable and you've really thought it through. But there's an increase in that of wanting to change how we look because of all of these images of how we're supposed to look are constantly on our feeds and in our view.
And the filler is also about changing the shape of their face, and sometimes they're going for the nose job. And I think a lot of people, maybe you agree to that point, that a lot of people struggle that they don't belong to that place. That is what I
Mm-hmm.
think, that you have this constant need for alienation, that you're alienated from that culture for a longer period of time, maybe, and you will
Mm-hmm.
stay like that for your whole life. So no matter how long you are in that culture, no matter how long in your that place, you still feel that you're lesser from that gene. And sometimes you feel that they're very intelligent and you're not that intelligent, and people are always going to judge you on that thing. So it's not, maybe it's more about changing the perception of society, which is very difficult to change, because still we have
Mm-hmm.
seen images from coming from the culture, maybe coming from the America and US, that people are there, and if a person is of color, of any color, and that person, and that even that child is sitting alone, the whole class is sitting alone, and I just mentioned that with one of my friend, I was just talking to her yesterday, and she said yes, it's still happening. And 1 month
Mm-hmm.
before, I just saw a video where there was some African American children, and some children who are so called native of that area, because this is a debate, who are native and who is not native. When we go to history, then
Mm-hmm.
history is a different thing, and history is telling us a harsh reality, that how they came and they take over that place. But the thing is that they don't want any colored child to sit on that swing, and I'm talking about a park. And there was a mother, and she was holding her two children, and there was a mob standing over there, and they were children, and it was literally like that
Mm-hmm.
mob will attack these children, and that mother was there to protect these children. So it's happening everywhere. You cannot change this thing, but whenever I have patient, I always tell them two things: either you change the environment or you change yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
changing environments is difficult, but to accept the fact that yes, you are from some other place, you have some certain body type, certain body shape, whether it's a hourglass, whether it's apple shape, square, there are a lot of body types like that as well. Triangle, upside down triangle, square,
Yeah.
and apple shape, and hourglass shape. So there are a lot of body types, and you don't
Yeah.
stick to that
And
as
that's
well. So sometimes a lot of people go to
mhm.
dieting and other things as well. So now there's new aspect of surgery, that people go to the surgery, but they don't see the aspect that they are very young for that thing. I mean,
Mhm.
having filler, changing the body shape, that is a personal decision. You cannot judge somebody on that thing, but too much is too much actually, too much towards that thing. Okay, so like you're interested in the body image and self acceptance. So, and I think it's not, and every age people are affecting from that thing, from child
Mhm.
to adults. It's not about the young age, it's not about the old age.
Sorry. Yeah, I couldn't. Okay, I don't know if I was stuck, but yeah, I and the last thing that I heard was that it happens at every age. It's not just in childhood, and it starts
Yeah,
when we're
that was
young.
I was.
Yeah, and it starts when we're young, and it's mostly with young girls where we focus on their appearance. We say, "Wow, you're so beautiful. Wow, you're so cute," or "Your hair is this way." I know, like one thing is having straight hair versus curly hair, or all of these physical features. And with boys, we more focus on their strength, their intelligence, their all these other internal things. And with young women, we start telling them messages about how they look, about how they dress, like, wow, you look so cute in this dress. And so it starts to build up. So even it happens to us in every age, but it starts when we're young and we carry it to when we get older. We carry it. And so then we start to, like, with a lot of my clients, there's this importance of trying to get them to realize, like, where did these messages come from? Like, did they come from your family? Did they come from social media? Or are they things that you tell yourself that you need to look like? And I love that you also brought up about the face shape, about the body shape, and how we do have to accept the traits that we already have. Because we don't, if you are Latino, if you are from the African community, your face shape, your characteristics, they're going to be different. And there is a lot of like, well, I want to change how this looks. I want bigger lips. Um, I know like a big thing is getting Botox at a young age, at like 20 something, to lift our faces. And so we're doing this younger and younger. So when we get older, we're already changing our face to where it's going to look different. So yeah, so those were great points. And then also, I know I mentioned like hourglass figure, but there are a lot of women who do have an apple shape, or they have the triangle, the upside down, and then the other way. And so I think it's important too to have education. And like one thing that shows up in a lot of the research is a way to help women deal with this and get closer to body acceptance is to raise awareness on social media and how a lot of the images that we see that are coming up from the celebrities that we follow or from the influencers are probably altered. They're probably highlights
Yeah,
of their
true.
life. Yeah, they don't represent what is actually going on. People aren't posting when they're crying. People aren't posting when they feel ugly or when maybe they're feeling a little bit bloated. They're posting the best pictures. They're posting ones with filters, or maybe altering the image or adding things to it. So that's one way that we can get closer to raising awareness, is reminding the little girls and also reminding teenagers or sometimes adults that these images they don't represent how that person actually looks. Like, I know when
True.
I post something, that's not how I'm always going to look. I look different in different angles, when I'm wearing different stuff. So that's one way, is like to raise that awareness, to have those conversations about body image and about how we feel about
And
body image.
I'm following few influencer, and what I like about them, they on and off they show the pictures which are altered, and they are showing that altered picture of very, you could say, strong media influencers, and they're very strong
Mhm.
media influencers, and they will show you that is the place where the picture is altered. Just see to them, and it is clearly shown. But even then, people are following them, and
Mhm.
even I have sometimes they show you the what it is called, the app as well. That how can you reshape yourself? How can you change the
Mhm.
texture of your face? And how could change your color? How could change even your nose, your lips, and everything, and how you're looking? Because this is a time of going toward different products, dyeing their hair. Okay, that is separate. But even then, you go for the products, you go for the skin products and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
these influencers, you could say, pressurize you to buy something good by saying that it's a good thing, but maybe it's not good for yourself. Maybe it's not good for your skin type. But even then, you are buying that thing because some media figure have that thing. So that's how they're conditioning you with to buy that thing. And if you know somehow about the process, there are few techniques of that. So it's subliminal message underlying these things, that all the time they give you the message. If it's a long hair, so the person could be good. If it's a white skin, clear skin, because there's always
Mhm.
a message after every product which say it will give you white skin. Instead of giving you the message, it can give you a clear skin. So a clear skin and a healthy skin is better than a white skin. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of researches on the skin colors, that if you expose yourself too much to the sun, If you're applying a lot of product, then you are going to get skin cancer, and you're prone to skin cancer as well, and some other things as well. Like for example, if you have very thin skin, then you can go some kind of autoimmune condition as well, and other things are also associated with that thing. But we are not going toward that aspect. We need a lot of time to go to these things, and it's not just about, even it's not just about your shape, your face color, and hair and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's all about the body image as well. If you know about the eating disorder, I would like to talk about eating disorder as well, because people have this disorder, nobody's talking about them. I'm talking about bulimia and anorexia nervosa, and that is a
Yeah.
condition which could lead to death as well. So I would like you to talk about, shed some light on the eating disorders.
Yeah.
Did you hear
And
my
then,
question?
yeah, can you say that again? The
Okay,
last,
I'm saying
the,
that when we talk about body image, then there are some psychological disorder which is anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa, and which are
yes.
associated with other mental health conditions, for example, depression, anxiety. So these are
Mhm.
causing factor to death as well. People don't talk about that, but these are the factors. So we don't talk about this. We say somebody want to be thin. Why does person want to be thin? If he's already thin, and there are some factors which could lead to that as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So just so to talk about it a little bit, I don't know if I froze or if you froze. Um, but I wanted to also go back to the point of when you were talking about skin color.
I can hear you. It's okay. I can hear you. I can hear
Okay,
you.
perfect.
You're still on here. I can hear you. If the image go with, just don't get
Then I just keep talking.
distracted on
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
I
so I
can hear
wanted
you.
to, so when you were mentioning like skin color, so the same thing kind of happens when we talk about our body, because if we're naturally born with darker skin complexion and we see this wanting to get towards whiteness, this Eurocentrism, then we're going to do everything that we can, sometimes in an unhealthy way. Because I know, I don't know if this is still a practice that is done, but bleaching your skin or trying to
Yeah.
be whiter than you are. And so there's this disconnection with yourself, even when we're using filters and we see ourselves in this filter and then we see ourselves in real life and we start to build on this like, well, now I'm dissatisfied with how I look because the filter made me look this way. And so we start to get a disconnection to our body and to how we look and to our body image. And so that ties into a lot of like eating disorders, and a lot of that is the relationship that we have with food. A lot of the times when we're raised in a household that maybe values thinness and being skinny and looking a certain way, we're given messages of not eating enough or eating too much. I know a lot of the messages that are mentioned in like Latino culture is to you have to finish everything on your plate. And if you're getting too skinny, then they're like, well, you need to eat more. And so we can't discern for ourselves. Then we stop listening to our body when we're eating. Because now it's like, well, I'm just going to finish everything on my food because that's how I was raised. And so we start building these unhealthy habits that then turn into eating disorders. Like I'm going to stop eating or I'm going to binge. I'm going to have episodes of binging. And then so that comes into when we're adults and we don't know. And so you see a lot of people who are trying to diet or there's also this like diet culture where it's like you have to eat this and this and this and this. But we're not listening to our bodies when our body is telling us now we're full. Now we are hungry. And so we turn off those signals that happen in our brains because what we want is to be thin. What we want is to, I don't know, to look a certain way. And like how you said, yes, when we do have eating disorders, that's usually there are comorbidities of depression, of anxiety, of maybe addictions in other areas, like maybe addictions to substances. And because our relationship with our body is not, it's not a healthy one. it's unhealthy
True.
because now we're not paying attention to the cues, like I'm feeling full now or I'm feeling hungry. But yeah, but I don't necessarily have too much experience with eating disorders, but I know a lot of that has to do with the relationship that our parents told us, or even how we see our parents, especially like our moms, how we see our mom and the conversation that they have with their own body. So if your mom was a little shameful, or your mom spoke bad about herself, like, oh, I hate this part of me, or I hate this part of me, then that's how we're learning how to talk to ourselves and how to talk to our body. So if your parent would emphasize a body part and they would be like, I hate my cellulite, I'm just going to cover it up. We learn that that's how we cope with us hating our body parts, because we learned that from our parents. So that's a big factor too, is how our family taught us how to relate to food and how to relate to our body.
And there's another thing as well, that food is a kind of defense mechanism, in the sense that you're somehow putting your anxiety on that. So
Mm-hmm.
when you are not in a good mood, then maybe you're eating a lot sometimes, because these things are so much related. That's why I talk about these eating disorders. People don't now, they stop talking about these things. These are very
Mm-hmm.
important thing to understand, that food, eating something, is a form of your, you could say, uh, implicit your anxiety in eating. So if you're not feeling good, you start go and you eat as a defense mechanism. So sometimes you will eat something that will not digest certain thing, and sometimes you could digest certain thing. So there's a lot of thing associated with that. Then secondly, you also mentioned an important aspect of underlying messages, the messages we are giving
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, and that is mostly self talk, how we are talking to ourselves. Okay, if you have thin hair, then it's not good because your head skin is shown. Okay, you have certain type of, maybe your face is clear and your hand is not clear. So these things matter, and we don't talk about these things. And when you're not okay with what you have, when you're not okay with your body type, when you're not okay with weight, sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
cannot lose a lot of weight, just like other people is using, and you don't have same metabolism. That is the point. And you could
Mm-hmm.
have some kind of condition, you could have some kind of food allergy, or maybe you have condition just like thyroid, or maybe you have some kind of condition related to body weight as well. Maybe you are some kind of hormonal disturbance. So there's a lot of factors which we don't even talk about that. We are
Mm-hmm.
saying that we don't talk about mental health, but we don't talk about these things as well. It's important to talk about. So I think these discussions are so important to be on daily basis, on regular basis, if not daily basis, on regular basis, so that we understand that how it's important to have a positive self image about ourselves, and how we're not able to attain that kind of image, because all the time you're complaining to yourself, why I'm not pretty, why I don't have a certain body shape, why I cannot have
Mm-hmm.
certain body type. You cannot change your body type. That's the point. Genetics is a factor that involves a lot of things, but you cannot have a certain body type, you cannot have certain culture. And now I like this, a lot of people that they say that you can have a textured skin. So sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you got some time of foundation, would claim that you cannot have a clear skin. So these are the
Mm-hmm.
messages which are feeded into ourselves. Somebody is feeding these messages to us, and that somebody and something is, it could be a social media, it could be advertising in agencies, it could be the influencer, so-called fashion influencer, who don't follow that regime. Maybe that's some kind
Mm-hmm.
of diet, or for weight loss they can go to surgeries, because there's an option of surgery as well. Those who are doing that know that they are doing that thing. So the thing is that what we are saying, that whatever, if you could have good hair day and you could have bad hair day, you could have a good skin day, you could have bad skin day, and these are associated conditions with your life. Same thing is, someday your mood is very good, and someday your mood is not good. So
Mm-hmm.
when we deny these things, we deny our own acceptance as well. And it's it's not that, I'm not saying that it's person fault, I'm not saying that's a society fault. Something is coming from somewhere, and we need to understand from where this is coming. I was having a
Yeah.
discussion with a therapist last week, and she was saying that I don't understand from where the message is coming. Who is going to tell you that you cannot have this
Mm-hmm.
and you cannot have this? Somebody is watching. Who is watching you? You're
Mm-hmm.
watching yourself. You are under
Yeah.
your own radar and you don't do certain things. So I think that is the problem. Maybe you have some other opinion about that thing, but that's what I think. So that is something. This is coming. Okay, I would also like to talk about the dieting aspect as well, because when we talk about self image, that as a whole, we talk about how we look into ourselves in the mirror. So whenever we look into ourselves in the mirror, we always start looking at our face and then our body. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
today we are looking a little bit fat, today we are looking a little bit thin. So I would like to have your opinion on that aspect as well.
Yeah. And also there's a lot of, because you mentioned like having conversations, and that is so important to have these conversations, to also talk to other people. And I think there's a lot of shame. There's a lot of shame around body image and
Yeah.
sharing that we don't feel ourselves or we don't feel our best selves. I know just in conversations like with friends, or when I hear someone talk about their body image, there's always someone else trying to be like, no, you're not, you don't look like this. Or no, like there's this trying to like be maybe too positive about it. And so having this conversation about like, yeah, on some days I don't feel good and other days I do. And that's a natural part of life. And
Yeah,
and
true,
talking about that, like it's normal to not feel your best every day, because if we felt our
true,
best, then
true.
then
That is the
there
point.
wouldn't be this like this. You have to feel happiness to know what sadness feels like. You have to feel joy to also know
True.
what's the opposite of joy, what the other side feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
you have
so
to
yes.
embrace these emotions as well. That is the point. You have to embrace them. That
Hmm.
sometimes you will feel good, sometimes you will feel bad about yourself. So you need to embrace from where that is coming. Why you feel bad about yourself? Because okay, if you perform poor enough test, so it is
Hmm.
a thing that you could feel bad about yourself, but you're not looking good because you don't have certain type of dress, you don't have certain type of color. So it's a complex. Somebody's feeding you that complex. So
Hmm.
somebody's trying to feed you inferiority complex, and these insecurities are coming from somewhere. So we have to
Yeah.
break this cycle of insecurity, and that is the point, that it's okay to feel even it's okay to cry about. It's okay to cry. If you feel
Hmm.
cry, then you should cry, but you should always have a place that you discuss these matter with your friends, and you should have a friend for that discussion as well. So you know
Hmm.
we don't pay attention to these things, that okay, somebody's saying this about, maybe we feel that way, and there's a very sarcastic joke about that thing. Then that there was a person and who was feeling okay. A person came to me. That was a kind of experiment. A person came to me and said that you're not looking good. He said that I'm perfectly fine. Second person came to him, you're not looking good today, maybe you're ill. That person said that no, I'm okay, I'm perfectly fine, and I'm feeling very good today. Third person came to that person and said that you're not feeling okay, you're not feeling good. Then that person start thinking about that. Okay, maybe I'm ill. Then he start, oh yeah, in the morning I felt a little bit dizzy and stuff like that. And when the fourth person came to that person, then that confirm his your belief. I'm not feeling good. I'm not feeling okay because I was feeling guilty. I said, if other people are saying this to me, it means that I'm not okay. This is how maybe societies try to not to do certain things, and they make ideas which may be not real.
Hmm.
That is the point. And
Yeah.
I have seen a lot of magazine who are so called, there's a term called plus size model, who are taking plus size model now, and maybe they have some model with color as well. So maybe they're playing, but even still they have some agenda behind that thing. Even
Hmm.
these model with color, they are still thin. You cannot attain that body. You cannot go on the diet, and you like earlier you were talking about the diets. Go for a different form of diet, you will have this, and you don't understand the point. When you go for the diet, then you start losing hair as well. You're going to start lose your skin as well. And then there are other aspects as well. You don't have certain type of energy when you go for these kind of diet. So I would like you to give your opinion on that thing as well. The certain type of diets people are referring you to, a certain type of food to eat or not to eat. So I think
Hmm.
that is contributing negatively, not positively. What is your opinion about that?
Yeah, because you're being told like this is how you're going to lose weight, and people have to, like you mentioned earlier, how everyone has different metabolism rates. And so you have to also figure that out for yourself, because what worked for one person might not work for you. And that's what also I think, if someone is trying to get healthier, we usually refer to it as like a diet, but in reality, it's a healthy lifestyle. It's every day choosing a healthier option, because now we're listening to our body. And I think that there has been some like improvement in, like, I know TikTok is more of a platform that is more realistic, where, and but then we have Instagram, and so you see these people who have healthy bodies, who have um abs and very thin, they're thin, or they still have like a big butt, and they're saying this is what you eat every day. And sometimes there's also a privilege of access to healthier food. If you are
Yeah,
well
that's true.
off financially, you're going to have more opportunity, more access to food that is healthier, versus someone who maybe is food insecure and doesn't have those opportunities. So that diet is not going to look the same for them. And so you're trying to like fit into like, okay, this is how my diet is supposed to look, but really it's like what works for you. And then you might have allergies, or you might have other things that don't fit with someone else, so it makes it harder. And then we're it goes back, it, like how you said, it's a cycle, because when we're not able to follow through on a diet or eating healthier, then we're shameful, we're hard on ourselves, like, oh, I should have done this, or I'm not even able to do that, like I can't even keep up with my diet. And so we don't have motivation, and we go back to hating ourselves. We go back to this cycle of hate, like, okay, I wasn't able to do it, so now I hate that I wasn't able to do it, and I'm still the weight that I am, or I still look the way that I look, and it's just repeats and repeats. So like one thing that is very helpful with eating is intuitive eating. So instead of, like, one thing is limiting, where we limit, like, you're not supposed to have sugar, or you can't have this cookie. And if we're trying to move towards a healthier relationship with food, it's, if my body wants a cookie, I'm going to have a cookie and not limit myself, because then we're restricting, and then that can lead into, again, an eating disorder, because now instead of listening to ourselves, we're listening to what we think we need to do, how we think we need to eat. Yeah, so I think it could be a vicious cycle, but again, like having
Yes,
those
always.
conversations.
Right?
Hmm.
And the thing is
Yeah.
that eating is a form of a lot of people are manifesting their anxiety because they don't have another way. To, they might start hitting something, but they cannot hit because you're in a place, you're in a social place where you cannot do that. And the relationship with the food is very different. and
Hmm.
and second thing is basic need. You cannot get away with the food. You cannot live eating food. That is a point. That is a primary need, basic need of every living individual, living thing.
Hmm.
I'm talking about they will always go for, if the primary need is met, then the person go to the secondary need, and we all know about secondary need. But the primary need is food. It is always hunger. You cannot stay for a longer time without eating anything. So it will
Hmm.
always come. But I was studying a research. According to that research, whenever it's maybe some form of psychology thing is involved with that. When your body know that you're going to starve for a longer period of time, then your body start automatically want to have more food, because that is a
Hmm.
human instinct.
Yeah.
That you will not have food for maybe for days. Maybe in the back time when people were living in the caves or they were living in the jungle, so they might not have had access to food for the longer period of time. So
Hmm.
then they start eating for like winter, your body start accumulating a lot of fats. Same thing happened with a lot of animals, just like maybe snake is doing that or a toad is doing that. So that is natural thing, that your body will accumulate more fat, and the
Yeah.
message is going to the brain, and you start, maybe you don't lose weight. Maybe you have that fats which is not healthy fat for you. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of mindfulness involved over there. You need to be very mindful when you talk. We both are not dietitian, but over here we're talking about the psychological aspect of the thing, because whenever you talk about any human behavior, psychology is involved with that. Thinking is involved with that. whether it is drinking, whether it is eating, whether it is form of addiction, because food is a form of addiction as if people don't think about that. It could be
Mhm.
addiction as well. Eating too much,
Mhm.
obesity, and stuff like that. And sometimes people, when you have some form of depression, then you might have understand that sometimes people starve, sometimes they eat more. Same is to with
Mhm.
sleep as well. Sometimes they will sleep more, sometimes they will sleep less. Okay. So when you talk about anxiety, when you start eating, those people who have anxiety, they have very, they have bad eating manners. I'm not saying about bad manners, but
Mhm.
their eating is different. They're
Yeah.
engulfing food, they're not chewing them, because they are in the fight and flight
Mhm.
state. So that is a thing. And, that is very, maybe people don't talk about this thing, but these are important things to understand, that why you're not able to control your eating. That is the
Yeah.
point. And
Mhm.
I'm mentioning these things because these are the things that is involving in your depression. You are getting more depressed, you're cursing yourself for the things which are not in your control. So it is
Mhm.
difficult to control your body if you have, if you like to eat, and the thing is that people cannot maintain a diet for long period of time, that they don't eat their favorite food. Maybe
Mhm.
sometimes you want to eat sweet, and you don't eat sweet thing because you're on a certain form of diet. So that is the point, that those diets are coming from some certain, you could say, companies. There's a very famous diet in which you eat some fruit and stuff like that, and that company made their diet for their employees who were sitting all the time. They used to work on the, their workstation was, and the job, nature of their job was, they have to sit in the chair for a longer period of time, or on the floor for a longer period of time. So they came up with some type of, diet, and people start blindly follow that diet. There's
Yeah.
some other form of diet. Then there's some form of water diet. Then there's some form of diet that you don't need to shrink your thing and shrink your stomach. So there's a lot of things. But the thing is that we, as I told you, mentioned in this discussion earlier, we both are not, dietitian, or not from, we're not, who can, guide for about that thing, how to lose the weight and stuff like that. But even the thing is that it's a basic necessity. It's a
Yeah.
basic need arising from your body that you have to eat. And why I'm talking about anxiety and depression, because there maybe other disorders are also affecting. But if you a person have anxiety, the patient of anxiety, and the person do not eat in the morning time, there are a lot of researches on that too. Then the person is going to have low energy for the whole day. So
Mhm.
how
Yeah.
that eating is affecting him. And your intestine is your second brain. That is the point, that it is telling you a
Mhm.
lot. If you
Yeah.
don't eat the time, you are going to be cranky. It is affecting you. It's affecting your mood. It is affecting your, you could, whole day as well. So when you come to hunger, then body image and everything goes away. But when
Yeah.
you come out of that eating phase, then your all worries come again. So you have, such a, as you're saying again and again, you mentioned it earlier as well, that you have, certain type of relationship with food, and you need to address that thing, whether your relationship is good or bad, from where that negativity is coming. And as you mentioned that, and I really like your idea that maybe our family is feeding us these things, that your mother don't like her certain body type, or certain part, so you also don't like certain part, and you're hiding that thing. So that is the
Mhm.
point. And what I could see, or what could I think, that if we start talking about these things so frequently, so maybe people start understanding that why they're not able to do something, why they're not able to attain something. So maybe somehow this vicious cycle break, because
Mhm.
we are doing we are we are inviting these people, they come to us for therapy, but everybody is not coming to us for therapy. They still have that thing, and that that negative image of themselves is affecting their whole life. And for them, even they
Mhm.
don't even know what is self image, what is a
Yeah.
positive self image. So okay, if a layman come to you, then how you will describe a positive self image?
Well, I think that goes back to awareness, like having awareness of, and you were talking about it earlier, where we have to like know where these messages are coming from, because if we're aware of them, where it's going to be painful to look at it and be like, this is where I received it from, but then it brings us closer to a place of acceptance. Because if I'm aware of the things that are bothering me, the things or where they came from, then I can get closer to seeing myself in a more positive way. because you have to work through that negativity to then get to that positivity. And then I also think there was another point about that I wanted to make about how we're so used to instant gratification. We're so
Yeah,
used
true.
to,
That's true.
yeah, like the firing in our brains when we see those notifications, we see those likes, we see these things that are so instant for us. We're so used to fast food, we're used to things being quicker. So when we want to lose weight, when we want to get to a healthier body size, or the things that take longer, we if we're not seeing results like this, if they're not coming in within the first month, we lose our motivation. But we have to
True.
remember that it took you years to gain this weight, or to, so it's going to take time to lose it. You're not going to lose
And
it like
they're
this.
earning from that. They're earning to have some certain body type. And
Mhm.
I really like your idea that those things who are healthy is very expensive. From where you're going to
Mhm.
get some organic food? Almond is expensive than maybe burger. And I
Mhm.
there was a picture I really might like that picture. It was about few almonds. There was one avocado and two other things as well. And then they show the picture of a burger, and the burger price was lesser than these three things. So burger is a
Mhm.
whole meal, and people say that you are getting a lot of weight, gaining a lot of weight. But if you talk about healthy eating, the healthy eating is very expensive. You're
Mhm.
not privileged to eat that healthy thing, and you cannot buy that thing, and you cannot you cannot have a slice of a bread which is organic bread, or you could say gluten free bread. That
Mhm.
flour is very expensive. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you talk about oil, there are certain oil which are very expensive. Maybe we cannot take the name of the oil, but which is very expensive. Okay, if you talk about some butter, which is very expensive, and these things are expensive. You cannot have these things in your usual home, in your you know the home which is you could say an average home,
Mhm.
which have very average income. So you need to think a lot of things, and I don't. And sometimes these also people also have some protein shake as well, which is more expensive than these things, and they have the access to expensive equipment, expensive
Yes, or personal
what you could say,
training.
certain for
Mhm.
certain there's a equipment for every body type, for every body part. For hand you have different, for back you have different, for stomach you have different, for legs you have different, some you have ball as well, you have some so you cannot have access to these things. So the point over here is that maybe instead of promoting some healthy lifestyle, they're promoting these products. They are giving the idea that you cannot lose your weight without having these, and you
Mhm.
cannot have certain lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle. And I don't think so it's a healthy lifestyle. I think it's a luxury lifestyle. So it's more a
Mhm.
luxury than healthy. People fail to understand that what is the difference between healthy and what is the difference between luxury, because healthy
Yeah.
food is luxury as well. Going to gym is luxury. You cannot
Mhm.
go to gym all the time, it's expensive, and you cannot have all the equipment at your home. Maybe you can go to some park and have some jog, you know so it could change your mood as well, and give you some positive vibe as well. But we need to talk about these things. The thing is that, like
Yes.
we both mentioned earlier, that the
Mhm.
solution to
Yeah, I
these
think.
things is these talks should be more frequent. So if I ask you how
Mhm.
to change the body image, or how to change the negative image, and how to change the negative self talk, because these are all the things which are contributing in giving you a negative aspect of yourself, and you're not accepting yourself. It's not just about accepting yourself, you're not accepting who you are, and
Mhm.
you're not accepting that you're a very intelligent person. You could do a lot with what you have. So
Yeah.
I would like you to add up things in how you can change the perspective, and how can you can change the negative self image, and how you can bring positivity in the things in your life which you have.
Yeah. So I think once we like come to a place where we accept that we don't have control over, let's say you don't have access to healthy food or personal training or gym equipment, once we can accept like this is out of my control, then we can move into changing our mentality, working with our anxiety, like you mentioned, self talk. So, one thing that has been helpful and it's shown a lot, like the research shows a lot of benefits, is positive affirmations or saying affirmations to yourself, like, I recognize that my body brings me, like, is allows me to eat, or that I'm able to breathe, or just having positive affirmations. And it's not going to be a the next day I wake up and I'm changed and I feel better about myself. It's a work in progress. And so we have to, I know there's like a lot of talk about like body positivity and body neutrality. So and there's a difference in that. So body neutrality is, I love my legs because they allow me to walk. And then body positivity is, I love my legs, I love my cellulite because they are beautiful. So there's a difference. One is just like acknowledging that this body that I'm in allows me to breathe, allows me to function, to go to work, to go to school, whatever it may be, to just be in this space. And another thing is also helpful, which is also something that you do have to train yourself, is practicing mindfulness and meditation, to where you can get to a place where you are in the present moment. So instead of focusing on, because with body image you do see a lot of anxiety, and a lot of that anxiety comes from, what are people thinking of me, how do I look to everyone right now, like, is everyone paying attention if I wear shorts, or if I wear something that doesn't make me feel comfortable, it, like, are people seeing that? And so if we practice being in the present moment, if we practice looking at ourselves, just accepting ourselves for who we are in that moment, and stay away from, or try to not think so much or worry about the future, then we can also start seeing ourselves and accepting ourselves for who we are. And then I think another point that I wanted to make was, that it is a work in progress. It's not going to happen overnight. I know, like, me as an adult woman, a mother, and in the mental health field, I still struggle sometimes with that, because we have to also filter ourselves, like filter social media, filter the messages that we do receive. So sometimes it might have to be muting stories, or maybe unfollowing celebrities that bring us that, like, we see them and we have that negativity. So having boundaries around social media and the messages that we're taking in, because I think that that can be like, it can feel like we're not connected socially, but it can also be a good thing for us, because sometimes when we're looking through everyone's highlights and we're seeing that they're doing this, or they look like this, or they went to go work out, then we feel shameful about what we're not doing. Like, well, I'm in bed while I'm watching these people work out. So that's an important piece too, is how much are we limiting ourselves online, and seeing, because we have to, what are we feeding, not just our bodies, but what are we feeding our minds? And if we're feeding our minds filtered or altered images, and that's all we see, then we're going to feel anxiety about that. We're going to feel that negativity towards ourselves. So I think that's where we start, is creating those
True.
boundaries, is
But
awareness
we
and
are also,
acceptance.
feeding negativity to our environment. It's not about the food we are eating negatively sometimes, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe not a negative, maybe overeating or stuff like that. But you are feeding your mind as well. And you give a very good point that you can uh, unfollow at any moment of your life, because what you see on social media is not real, and people don't understand that aspect. They have
Mm-hmm.
the life which is very artificial. Like, we have seen these celebrity, maybe there is just a very recent cases going on, and maybe to us that was a good couple, there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
luxury, but what they go through, it's a different struggle. And they also have, you could say, everybody have mental health problems, and they go for the help. So
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of thing, having the luxury doesn't make you exception from any kind of mental health problem. You would have these problems in any way, whether you are poor, whether you are rich, whether you go to certain
Mm-hmm.
level. But if you don't accept your, and even if you don't understand how to accept yourself, maybe sometimes people think that if you have certain things that we are good, we will accept ourselves. The point is that over here, what goal you're making for yourself. Either it's just because when you talk about self image, I don't think so it's just about your body types. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
about what you are or how you look. For me, it is what you have in your life, because these are important thing to talk about. What you have, what are your goals, whether you achieve your goal or not, because how much you're successful in your life is going to affect your image. And I
Mhm.
think people in their life have a lot of unrealistic expectation. Either it comes
Mhm.
to the goal, or it comes to some certain level, even it comes to some certain type of body type. So when their goals are not realistic, for example, if you set a goal that in 1 month you are going to lose 10 kg weight, it's a difficult thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you have a goal that in 1 month you're going to earn maybe 10,000, you can earn that. But if you said if I go to maybe earn 100K or more than that, so that could be an unrealistic goal. And if you have unrealistic goal, then that lead to anxiety as well. So whenever we will talk about these things, anxiety and depression will come, stress will come. And people don't know how to overcome these things, because they even don't know how to set real goals. Even if you talk about boundaries as well, so they even don't know how to be a real ideal person and whom to relate with. Those
Mhm.
people who you see have luxury style, they have their differences, they have their problem as well. So you don't see their problem because they're not telling their problems to you. The moment they
Mhm.
start telling your problems, then maybe you start unfollow them. That, or maybe you start relate to these people. But the expectation you have with your life maybe change as well. So
Mhm.
the reality is that whenever you talk about yourself, whenever you talk about self image, according to my opinion, maybe you have some sort of other thing, other opinion with as well, it's not just about how you look, it's about what you have in your life, and how you
Mhm.
set your goals, and how you're going to uh, get these goals, and how you're going to understand what I can attain, what are my boundaries, and even talk about boundaries as well. So maybe
Mhm.
self image, your goals and your boundaries, that come in a package. You're not going to live alone with anything. You need to understand about everything, that what I can do, what I cannot do, what I can achieve and what I cannot achieve. So I would like you to give your opinion on this aspect as well, and then after that we will conclude our discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like understanding your motivation for the reason why you even want to look a certain way. And then also, yes, like we, our self-image is our values and what makes us valuable, what we have to offer. It's not just how I look on the outside, but am I am I an optimistic person? Am I someone who is ambitious? So looking at ourselves in that aspect too, not just focusing on this is how I look, because looks will only, it's the first thing that people see, but it's not the thing that they focus on. Because once you have a conversation with someone, they're going to be interested in your words. They're going to be interested in that. And I think, yes, too, like we need to have realistic goals if we're trying to get to a certain place. And then what is our motivation behind those goals? Why do I want to lose this weight? Why do I want to look a certain way? And so asking ourselves those questions, like, what is my intention? Like, um, why do I even want to lose this weight? Like, what is it? Because I think I'm gonna be more attractive to other people, or because I want to feel healthier or stronger. Um, yeah, so I think those were such good points. And I think also asking yourself just your why. What is your why? Because once you can get to your why, it's going to be easier to have that motivation and to follow through on your goals and what you want to accomplish when it comes to your body image. And then also focusing on your values, your traits, your personality traits that are more than just what you look like.
And whenever you talk about people that people think that you have certain type of body, whether people will be attracted toward you. It's a mainly it kind of attention seeking behavior. So
Mhm.
these things are you will understand that if you don't feel comfortable, then you should not be in that place. People don't understand that, and you need to understand that when you talk about the boundaries as well. People who don't like you, don't want to be with you, then you should not go and talk to these people. There will
Yeah.
be people who accept the way you are. And
Mhm.
acceptance is not like just a bigger aspect, but I'm talking about simple friendships. Like you said
Mhm.
that somebody saying that you're not looking good in that dress. So do you think if that person wear that dress, he's looking good? So that his thing, that is his or her thing. What about your own self? What
Mhm.
about what you feel about yourself? That should be enough for
Mhm.
you, because that person will go away, but the negativity you have taken from that person will stay with you maybe the whole day, maybe the whole week as well. So it's a time to filter these things, and it's a time to think about your own self, that what you like and why you want to do this. Whenever you talk about setting your goals, setting your boundaries, then it's the you who is affecting the most. So you should talk to yourself first instead of
Mhm.
taking other opinion. Other opinion matters because we are living in a social world. But the thing is that, can you know uh, can you make happy everyone? We cannot make everyone happy. There may
Mhm.
be
Yeah.
people around us who are not happy with us. But the thing is that, can you go to beyond your expectation, beyond your your doing, or beyond your uh, your strength and limitation to attain something. So it's not possible. Even it's not humanly possible to make everyone happy. So it's good,
Mhm.
and the easy thing is to make your own self happy. So what makes you
Yeah.
happy, I think, is better for you, and what makes your family happy. Because when it's you, then it's your family as well, and the people around you. So the thing is that we should have always people around us who appreciate us in any way, and who give you tips how to do certain things. It's not that, okay, you're looking fat and stuff like that. Why don't that person tell you how to look good in that certain dress, or how to change some
Mhm.
dress, or how to wear a different color? So that would be a positive talk, that will be a positive affirmation for somebody. And I think that will help that person, instead of just cutting yourself from everyone. You cannot cut yourself from everyone. So
Mhm.
that is my opinion, and thank you so much for Jimmy's. Okay, that's a difficult day. Coming to my
Mhm.
discussion, and giving us some positive aspect, and giving us derivation of a lot of things, and talk about those things which we don't talk about these things nowadays. When there's celebrity, again talk about celebrity and people who are doing some makeup and doing something which is fancy. You will see a lot of people going to them and watch them, but how many of
Mhm.
them are real followers? They have
Yeah.
trouble, then maybe they don't have these people take off their trouble.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, they people are alone as well. So at the end of the day, you're the one who is going to take your own burden. So it's better to
Mhm.
take your burden before it's. So any, I would like you to give the closing remark, then we are going to end this discussion.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me here. And I think just, take it for anyone who is struggling with body image or getting to a place where they want to accept themselves, take it day by day. Some days you're not going to feel good, and some days you're going to feel amazing. And then something that I like to do is when I'm not feeling good, I'll get dressed up and I'll kind of, not force myself, but, try to look my best so that I can feel my best. And so that's like my ultimate tip that I would give for those days that you're not feeling good, to make yourself feel pretty in any way that you can. Yeah, and it was just so fun having this conversation. So thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, and we would like you to invite you again and again for such discussion. And that was discussion we had today, and that was so relevant as well, because there's a lot of things we need to talk about. There's not one aspect, but there are a lot of things, because it feels relevant because everybody's facing the same issue. Whether it's a person who is pretty, who is not pretty, and the person who is with color, without color. So
Mhm.
I think acceptance will come when we start talking about these things so frequently, and I think that's a good start. We professionals come together and they talk about these things, and they even exchange the knowledge as well. Because one thing which I'm learning from this is, wherever you go, people have same problems. People are facing the
Mhm.
problem will remain the same, but the way you deal with these problems make it different and make you stronger as well. So and the change will come when you start talking about these things. Even before
Yeah.
acceptance is talking about your feeling, and how
Mhm.
okay, why you feel bad about yourself, why you like certain type of body, why you like other people. So these questions, when you start talking to yourself, then definitely you will get answer as well. Thank you so much for coming to our live discussion today. We will ask you again to come and give us your valuable time and your information and the experience you have. Thank you so much. It was nice
Thank
talking to
you.
you. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Okay, thank you so much everyone. That is end for today's discussion. and see you in the other discussion. And that was about self image. Okay, see you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.